Welcome back to Embrace Life and Thrive. This is a space where we talk about healing, faith, and walking through life's hardest moments with grace and hope. Today's episode is tender and timely. We're going to be talking about what it really means to show ourselves grace, especially when life feels messy, and how to extend that same grace to others when it's really hard. So let's be honest. We're often our hardest critics, right? When we're grieving, when we're navigating infertility, struggling with health or weight, or simply just feeling overwhelmed by the demands of life itself, it is so easy to slip into that self-judgment, and we say things to ourselves that we would never honestly say to a friend, such as, "You should be over this by now. Why can't you just get it together? Everyone else is handling life better than you." But, having grace with ourselves, it looks like, I see that you're trying. I see that you're showing up as best you can, even when it hurts. And you're allowed to process this as long as it takes. Grace gives us permission to be human, to have our bad days, to have our good days, to be in progress but not perfect, to realize that we ultimately receive grace from God. So when we receive God's grace for ourselves, this is not something that we have to earn. It's a gift that God freely gives us. And realizing that, it changes how we speak to ourselves. In 2 Corinthians 12:9, God tells us that my grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. And when we see our weakness, when we see all the mess that we're in, we can realize that God is showing us grace. We can give ourselves grace, and we can lean into His strength. This means that even when you're a mess, it isn't too much for Him. Even your undone places are where He wants to meet you. And that's sometimes where He meets us the best. Now, what about when other people get messy? When someone is short with you, lets us down, says the wrong thing during our grief, or doesn't show up the way we wish they would, our response is often to protect ourselves or to push them away. But what if they're grieving too? What if they don't know what to say? What if, like us, they're struggling to carry invisible weights? Colossians 3:13 reminds us that we should bear with one another and forgive. As the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. Grace doesn't mean excusing harmful behavior, but it does mean choosing compassion over criticism. It means saying, maybe they're in a hard place too. It means leaving room for God to do the restoring. Grace says, I've needed understanding too. I can give it now. Sometimes showing grace to ourselves, showing grace to others can be really challenging, especially when we're in situations or things that happen that really hurt us. And it's hard to know how to respond, how to navigate. But grace isn't a one-time decision. It's a daily and sometimes moment-by-moment choice, even when it's really hard, even when it's like, they were really mean to me. They said some really hurtful things. Choosing the road of grace is not always easy. To say, I didn't get everything right today, but I'm still worthy. My healing isn't linear, and that's okay. They're still learning, and so am I. So maybe today you need to let go of guilt. Maybe you need to forgive someone, or even forgive yourself. Maybe you need to simply breathe and say, God, remind me I don't have to carry all this alone. Grace is how we create space for healing. Grace is what makes it safe to keep growing. And grace is the soil where relationships can rebuild and hearts can rest. Sometimes in situations, it can look like there is no way back. And sometimes that is the case. But realizing and showing grace is leaving it in God's hands and praying through it. giving yourself grace to bear it, and giving the other person grace in their journey. So let's let grace meet you today. Right where you are, not where you think you should be, not where the world says you have to be, but right here. And then let grace ripple out from you, because when you receive it, you then can give it in return. And in that flow, that gives opportunity for all of us to heal. Thanks for being here today. If this episode has spoke to your heart, please share it with a friend who might need a little grace today. Until next time, please keep showing up, keep breathing, keep healing, and always remember you are held in grace.